Where that middle is. Yeah.
It sucks because it's like how our negotiation, all that, how that's going. It's like we're the laughing stock of sports right now.
I don't think that that's true, though, because you guys are in this point because things are so different than they have been. Like, the reason no one knows what the fuck to do is because the WNBA the last 3 years has, like, been on a whole new level than it ever.
When Sophie Cunningham says the WNBA is the laughing stock of sports right now, her expression makes it clear this isn't exaggeration. It's embarrassment mixed with realism. She knows exactly how bad this looks from the outside, and that's what makes this moment so critical. For the first time in league history, players aren't just venting behind closed doors or leaking frustration through anonymous sources. They're openly admitting, on camera and on the record, that they're willing to lose games over contract negotiations. This isn't talk, it's leverage. In February 2025, the WNBA Players Association approved a strike authorization vote, meaning a majority of the league's 144 players gave union leadership the power to shut everything down at any moment. And according to Breanna Stewart, they're prepared to take it all the way, even if that means sitting out an entire season.
Prepared not to play this season? I know you want to, but would you say you're prepared not to play?
We've approved the strike authorization vote, which means that we're able to formally lock out whenever we want because we have majority of the players' votes behind us. I think that for me personally, like the closer it gets to WNBA season, we're prepared to do it, to not play, but we don't want to. We want to play because we know how important it is to be on the court for a number of reasons, for the people, for the fans, for the city. But it'll be something that's really tough if push comes to shove.
Catch what she just admitted. Stewart tried to soften the message, but in doing so, she exposed a fracture ripping through these negotiations. She acknowledged that maybe the top 10 to 15 players could survive a strike financially, but the rest of the league can't. They need those paychecks. They need to play. ESPN reported in March that this divide runs so deep it's showing up inside the Players Association's own executive committee, with some players pushing for maximum demands while others are quietly panicking about missed game checks. Because the reality Stewart just confirmed is brutal. A WNBA player outside the top tier cannot afford to sit out a season. Overseas contracts don't start until the fall. Endorsements are limited. A strike in May means no income until at least October. Yet union leadership keeps repeating, "We're prepared to do whatever it takes," a phrase that's quietly eroding public perception, and they don't seem to realize the damage it's doing.
Meeting this week.
And?
Negotiations are in process.
To get things moving?
In hopes of getting it moving because it has not been moving at all. Both sides are kind of getting, frustrated, but I know us players are holding our ground, so it should be interesting. At the end of the day, depending on where these negotiations go, like if you give these players what they want, you're going to get all the best players. Therefore, you're going to win. Therefore, your ticket sales are going to be up. Everything's going to be up.
But that's what these negotiations are, is finding where that middle is. Yeah.
It sucks because it's like how our negotiation, all that, how that's going. It's like we're the laughing stock.
Now listen to how Sophie frames a negotiation. Her logic is simple. Pay the players what they want, attract the best talent, start winning, and ticket sales will rise. That argument might work in a profitable league. It might work in a league with established revenue streams. But the WNBA doesn't fit that reality. The league has lost money in 22 of its 27 seasons, and the NBA has kept it afloat with more than $200 million in subsidies since 2008. This is where the players are losing the public relations battle. Fans see the current proposal from NBA and WNBA owners. Average salaries rising from around $75,000 to potentially $500,000 within 5 years. Max contracts jumping from $241,000 to as high as $2.4 million. A tenfold increase that represents generational wealth for players who were earning mid-five figures just a few years ago. But instead of hearing gratitude or even cautious optimism, fans are hearing, "We're prepared to strike." They're hearing, "We don't want to get gypped." And they're hearing players compare themselves to NBA stars who generate nearly $4 billion in annual revenue, while the WNBA brings in roughly $200 million.
But I know, like, personally as WNBA players, it's like, well, we've signed however many CBA deals before, and we just don't want to get gypped. We don't want to feel like we're signing something and we're actually getting, like, screwed, because now we know how much you need us. We see the valuations between all the teams and all the things and the expansion fees, and it's like, no, there's a lot of money behind this, so like, don't forget to pay us too.
Are you sure you don't want a policy against weed? Are you sure about that?
This is the money quote. Breanna Stewart saying, "We don't want to feel like we're signing something and we're actually getting screwed because now we know how much you need us." That phrase, "how much you need us," reveals exactly how top-tier players see this negotiation. They watched Caitlin Clark sell out arenas in her rookie season. They saw TV ratings triple when she played. They noticed that 15 of the 20 most watched WNBA games in 2024 featured the Indiana Fever. And they came to one conclusion. The league finally has leverage, and ownership needs the players more than the players need ownership. But here's what they're missing. Caitlin Clark is one player. The league does not need all 144 players equally. It needs maybe 10 stars, 15 reliable role players, and the rest are, economically speaking, replaceable. That's harsh, but it's the reality of professional sports. When Stewart points to rising team valuations and expansion fees, she's pointing to numbers driven almost entirely by the impact of one superstar. The Golden State Valkyries paid $50 million for an expansion franchise in October 2024. Portland paid the same 2 months later. But those valuations are based on projected future growth, on the assumption that Caitlin Clark keeps playing, keeps drawing fans, keeps driving media attention. If a season gets canceled, if casual fans tune out, those projections don't just dip, they evaporate.
That everyone wants to be the star. Our commissioner right now, even though we're not agreeing on negotiations or we're barely even talking at all, like, she could still go on other social media platforms and like be like, hey, I believe in our product. I love our product, because that gives off a different feel than just not saying anything and acting like we don't exist.
And this is where we get to the real problem. Sophie Cunningham calls out Commissioner Kathy Engelbert for not promoting the league on social media, arguing that she could still go on other platforms and say, "I believe in our product. I love our product." On the surface, that sounds reasonable. Support your league publicly, even during tough negotiations. But look closer at what Sophie is actually asking for. She wants a commissioner hyping the product, while players are openly threatening to strike. She wants ownership to market a season that may not even happen. She wants the league spending money to promote games that players themselves are saying they might refuse to play. That's not how labor negotiations work. When you threaten to withhold your labor, you give up the right to demand promotional support. The NBA didn't market the 2011 season during the lockout. MLB didn't run ad campaigns during the 1994 strike. You can't hold the product hostage and then complain that no one is selling it.
CBA proposal that they've been handed by the NBA is unfair. And there's no way they don't know that they're not going to run their league into the ground. Are they just counting on Caitlin Clark being able to save it? If you lose one game, it's going to be a PR disaster. One game, if you lose a preseason game, it's going to be a disaster. Now you see, I've got 2 sets of videos here.
Go back to the beginning of this controversy. The moment a commentator said, "This is the first time I can legitimately say there's a chance these players are actually going to strike." That clip was recorded in early March 2025, just after the strike authorization vote passed, and his immediate reaction was disbelief, not because the players lack legitimate grievances, but because a strike would be catastrophic for a league that has never been profitable. The current CBA proposal includes revenue sharing for the first time in WNBA history, with players receiving 50% of league revenue once specific growth benchmarks are met. The same split used in the NBA, MLB, and every major professional sports league in America. But players are balking at those benchmarks. They want guarantees. They want the money now, not tied to performance metrics or revenue targets. And that's the problem. The WNBA doesn't have the money yet. The league is projected to generate roughly $220 million in revenue in 2025, meaning 50% will be $110 million split among 144 players, about $764,000 per player on average. That sounds great until you remember the league still isn't profitable, and the NBA continues to cover operating costs. So when players demand 50% of revenue without acknowledging that revenue doesn't yet cover expenses, they're effectively asking the NBA to increase its subsidy, a bigger slice of a pie that doesn't exist yet.
It is to be on the court for a number of reasons, for the people, for the fans, for the city. But it'll be something that's really tough if push comes to shove, because, you know, like you said, you're comparing apples to oranges. The W and the NBA, like, contracts are vastly different.
Very skewed, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, the top 10, maybe 15 players can survive without a W contract.
Right.
But the rest, it's like, no, you don't want to go that much without getting paid. I feel like the PA is doing a great job of making sure that we have like the amenities and the resources. And if we don't get what...
Listen to how Breanna Stewart describes the internal conflict. She admits that the top 10, maybe 15 players could survive without a WNBA contract. But for the rest of the league, it's different. No, you don't want to go that long without getting paid. Then she immediately pivots, praising the Players Association, and insisting that if they don't get what they want, they will sit out, even while admitting they don't want to. That contradiction says everything. She knows most players can't afford a strike. She knows the union is fracturing. She knows this could derail careers for non-star players. And yet she's still saying they'll sit out because the top 15 believe they have enough leverage to pull everyone else along. This is where ESPN's reporting on internal division becomes critical. According to sources close to the negotiations, several executive committee members have privately raised concerns about the strike timeline, worrying about lost development for young players, about international players who need WNBA exposure to protect their overseas value, and about the league losing momentum just as it's finally breaking into the mainstream. But publicly, the union has to present a united front. So you get carefully worded lines like, "We don't want to strike, but we're prepared to." That's not strength. That's players trying to convince themselves as much as the owners.
One will sit. It will be the biggest PR. You know what? This is what the players don't get. You're already in a PR disaster right now. Why do you think that the NBA leaked the latest proposals, information, and metrics? Because they understand a large part of the fan base is actually on the owner's side in this. Because we're seeing how large the raises are now. And all these other perks, including, you know, I can understand giving a player like if you're on a 10-day contract, I can understand a team putting you up in a hotel or whatever. I get that. But if you're drawing a regular salary, I mean, why in the world would anybody pay for your housing? That's something that fans can't relate to. Especially if you're making an average contract that is, you know, $500,000 a year, and eventually might become $1 million a year for an average contract. Yeah, you're losing ground with fans now. And we've said, well, if they go on strike, it's going to be very interesting to watch the chaos of a certain section of players all of a sudden being like, we want to play. Well, then what happens?
This is where the situation turns into a genuine crisis. Every time a player says, "We're prepared to strike," they chip away at their relationship with fans. Not the diehards who supported the WNBA for 27 years, but the new, casual viewers who tuned in because of Caitlin Clark. Those fans are sports fans first and WNBA fans second, and their attention can shift back to the NBA, college basketball, or anywhere else in a heartbeat. The league added roughly 3 million new viewers in 2024, a 48% jump from the year before. But that growth is fragile, built on novelty, star power, and momentum. Labor disputes cancel games, and players arguing about money during a time of inflation kill that excitement instantly. When news of the strike authorization broke, the dominant reaction online wasn't support. It was disbelief that a league never profitable, recently offered massive raises and revenue sharing, was still threatening to shut down. That's not sexism, it's basic economics. Players point to expansion fees and rising valuations like the $50 million paid by Golden State and Portland. But those are bets on future growth, not proof of current value. And they depend on continued momentum driven largely by one superstar. If a season is canceled or casual fans lose interest, those projections collapse. The NBA has subsidized the WNBA for decades because it believes in the sport, but it's not going to keep funding a league that holds a hostage. Players believe they have leverage because of one historic rookie season, but leverage requires sustainability. Proof that growth continues even without Caitlin Clark carrying ratings. The data doesn't show that yet. Attendance and viewership without her remain modest, meaning the league truly needs a handful of stars, not all 144 players equally. Stars have leverage. Role players have jobs. The union sold solidarity as power, but solidarity only works when everyone is equally replaceable. And in the WNBA, the drop-off makes replacement a real option. If a strike happens, the players are gambling that ownership needs them more than they need ownership. That fans will side with them, and that momentum will survive a canceled season. They're wrong on all three. If they force a work stoppage, they won't get a better deal next time. They'll get a worse one. And the fans who just discovered the league will move on to something else. The real question isn't whether they should strike, but whether they understand what they're risking if they do.